Hello, diary listeners. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to our second piece of Killian Moon's diary entry. This half we're calling Keep It Moving, because as you'll find, Killian really likes to keep it moving. And I have to say, I get it. And now you will too. Enjoy. Welcome to the Apprenticeship Diaries, where raw meets refined.
Let's be real, we're still working on refining.
What it took, what it takes, and the stories that are made.
Join us as we learn from professionals about how their stories began.
Brian, Brian. That might be your style.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like I'm definitely not into pausing and like thinking about shit too much.
That sounds like that's your discomfort.
Let's see where it goes, you know? Let's see if this hits something. Doesn't work? Fuck it. Just throw it away. Start over. Aim differently, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't really pause that much, if I'm honest. Like I understand what you're saying, but I don't feel like that's kind of how I analyze it. I'm just like, I'm more like, I'll try everything and I'll keep trying other stuff just to see if it hits. And if it doesn't, then I just immediately just discard it. I'm just like, oh, well, that didn't work. Cool.
No, I mean, I do as well. And I think in the beginning, it's important to do that, but you are doing things. It's not like you're not submitting yourself to, doing things.
Here's a more tangible question for you.
Okay. I get a question.
Do you ever feel lazy?
Oh, all the time. I think I'm a lazy person really at heart.
Oh yeah, well, same. Obviously same. But so here's the thing that I've noticed that like a lot of people struggle with, especially people who are on the high end of productivity, that they're just like, oh, I just haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. But then I'm like looking every now and then. I'll like look through my tattoo portfolio. I'll like the because we keep things in our phones and it's all spread out and you can't really see it. You can't really. There's no compilation. It's not like any other type of art where it's just like these are all the things on the wall that I made.
Yeah.
It's not tangible because we do our tattoo and then they leave and then your studio is still as empty as as when you got in there. So but it's weird because now I'm like whenever I look for a tattoo, and this comes from me trying to teach seminars and trying to find examples of shit that I know is correct or a learning experience through my work, that I'm just like, oh fuck, I've done so much shit. I've done so much shit, but I'm still here thinking that I'm lazy.
Well, because that it keeps going. And I think that's something to put out there for people who, especially if they're drawn to this podcast, a lot of people are, just because they hear apprenticeship and they're like, oh, I want an apprenticeship. I'm hungry. I want this. It's important for them to hear that even though you get the apprenticeship and you get the career and you've been doing it for 15 years and you can put in a solid tattoo and you have an epic portfolio and all the stuff, that it will keep scaling. You have to keep scaling. There's always going to be what's next.
Yeah.
And that's the heat you get into. That's the rhythm you get into. It's very, and it's like you said, I think that I'm not worried about the gatekeeping so much as I don't think that everybody can handle the heat of this. I think they can get in over their heads very quickly. And they can get very hurt. Hopefully they don't hurt a lot of other people in the way. But I also believe we get what we deserve. I believe that, if you don't do your research with an artist, if you don't if you don't talk it through, if you don't make sure that you're with all of the information that's out there, you walk into a place.
I think 95% of tattoos are trash. So I mean, your odds of getting.
I think 95% of anyway. What I do is trash half the time. My clients don't feel that way, but I'm always critiquing my own shit, going, "Wow, in the grand scheme, it's great." But
Well,
Not good
yeah,
enough for me.
I just think about it that way because I think it's like a good way for me to like manage my own expectations and like not let the ego kind of like creep up to me and just being like, oh, I'm great all the time. I'm amazing. Because like I feel like, you know, you sound like an asshole where you're just like sucking your own dick all the time. Um, so I'm just like, I mean, like I feel like a lot of times, and this might be like, you know, false or correct, who knows? But I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I know what I'm doing with my job, but also it also kind of looks better because like you go out with your new tattoo and everyone else's looks like shit, you know? I think most tattoos are trash. They mostly look garbage, and people are like, "Oh, a good one, sick." You know, like, you know, outside of the because like, you know, you follow Instagram and you see all the good tattoos because you only follow the good tattooers, you know, but you don't, that's not what tattooing is.
No, I know.
Most tattooing is just subpar at
I don't
best.
I don't think I look at it very much because I don't you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it is my ego. I don't know, but I don't I try not to leave a lot of room in my heart and my view for things that I find awful. Because what I want is to elevate everybody to their own betterment. So even if there is trash, you know, if I'm presented with half the trash in my life, it's hard for me to even throw it away because I'm always thinking about what I can make out of it new again. I'm like,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
how do I transform this into something that's new and better again? Like even if it is trash, I'm like thinking, well, that, you know, and that's the thing is that even though art may or may not be good, there's a human heart behind that that is seeking so much to uplift and be better. And I can't disengage the people aspect of this for me because, you know, ultimately I want to be in a world that is better, and I want to help cultivate that in any way I possibly can. So even if even if that is the case, which I know you're not wrong, I was once asked by a friend, he's like, how do you walk throughout life with this fucking annoyingly cheery disposition all the time? Like you're really optimistic. And I don't know how you can disregard all the shit. And I'm like, well,
Oh yeah.
here's the thing is that we're all delusional. I'm not saying I'm not delusional,
I
but
like that.
you have a perspective you can take. And you know, I don't really understand people who choose to actively look at all the shit. Um, because you have a choice of what you can look at. And I know the shit's there. Um, but I don't want to see it, and I don't want life to be shit. And I would rather walk around in my own delusion
Yeah.
than walk around in a bunch of shit. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
weird to keep living a
I
life
don't,
that's shitty.
yeah, I don't even like looking at things that give me bad emotions.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, because
just
like,
don't
and I
look at
know
it.
this is a very personal thing where I'm just like, it might be also playing into my own delusion, where I'm just like, I don't even want to fuck with like, you know, all these like media and shit. It's just like, oh, serial killers, go fuck yourself. I'm not watching this shit. Like, you know, and I, you know, as I think as a woman, you are already prone to being into murder podcasts.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I love all that stuff. Oh, I like
I
psychology.
I love psychology, but I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna digest that shit.
yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm good. You know, and it's just like, I don't know if like that helps my own delusion or not.
This might be interesting for you to know though. I don't like true crime podcasts led by women. I find it very that I can't because that makes it too real for me, and they get into topics that are a little too on the nose for a woman. I like listening to true crime from men who can make it funny. And that's the only way I can digest it because I mean, if you can make that level of fucked up funny, that's the only way I can really process it. And
Yeah,
I also don't really like listening to other women voices. I know that's kind of fucked up too,
that's
but
okay. I hate listening to men.
yeah, see, there you go. There you
Hard
go. It's
pass. I
she's like,
don't.
I
I
got it.
don't.
I got it going on here. I don't need more. Like, I don't need more of
Yeah,
that.
that's enough testosterone, buddy. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I I hear you. And there's just like a different way that life, I guess, confronts me. I'm a pretty tall lady. I put off a projection of like this would not be an easy victim for you. Personally, I think that's probably why I've gotten this far without having anything happen to me. It's just, a
Yeah,
lot
being
of,
tall rules.
huh?
Being tall rules.
Yeah, it does, and I'm of a considerable weight too. Like if I just fell on you, it's gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna hurt. Like, so I think that when people look at me, they're like, yeah, that's not gonna probably be the easiest target to work with here. Plus, both you and I are pretty known. Like you said, your family was known, mine too. My family was part of our community. Like a lot of people knew me. So as far as like victim too, if you're known like that, you'll be known if you go missing. So like
Yeah.
usually when people are looking to victimize somebody, they find the stragglers, the stragglers in life where they're kind of lost and disconnected and don't that's why I like listening to serial killer podcasts is because I like understanding the psychology of predators, because I don't really think that I am one. I think that I have aspects of me that help me survive. um, but I really just really want to be a conscientious human, and I want to um, exist with other people and promote a good life with other people. I'm not looking to take advantage, um nor am I trying to be a burden either. So like these are my goals and all of it, but as far as like understanding the psychology of both predator and prey, I think these things are good to kind of look at how it moves and how it works and what are the actions of these things that I better know what to do with my life and how to go. What do I want to be? Again, why and what and where and how? What are these questions? How am I going to answer them?
Yeah.
um you know
You wanna hear something about the why? That'll bring us back to tattooing and less about murderers.
yes.
I'm like, wow, we're talking too much about men. I'm
Already.
like, yeah, it's overloaded with this man talk.
Go ahead.
No, but let me tell you about another man.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think this must have been like 12 years ago. It's like one of the first like tattoo trips that I took, and that I couldn't afford first off. Um, and I went to LA to get tattooed by Sean Barber. Um,
Nice.
you know, it's,
That's
great
a
oil
dope.
painter, dope dude, like really nice guy. And and I was like, still scratching in my house, I think. Um, and I was like, he was really nice. He was really, really nice because like I really appreciate this of him because like, I told him a little bit of like, who I was and like how tattooing was in Honduras and yada yada yada. And he was all just like, you just ask me things. Like it's fine. Because he's also a teacher.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, just ask me whatever you want, like, and I'll just answer it. Like, and I was like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. And it was like a really productive, like, very informative little session there. A couple hours worth of talking and just kind of like picking his brain about a bunch of stuff. And then I think he asked me at the end of it, just like, all right, well, what's your goal here? And I didn't know how to answer that because I never thought that far in advance. I never thought about like what I wanted to do in tattoo, and I just thought that I wanted to be tattooing. And then I think like the main thing that I thought about afterwards was just like I think that my goal, and I still think that this is true. I think that my goal is to make the people who I look up to be my friends. and I want to be their peer. I just want to be at the exact same level of the people that I idolize and look up to, and I feel like in a lot of ways I've achieved that. And I'm like, and I say, like this is a continuing abstract goal,
No,
I feel
of
like a lot of
course.
people do focus and fixate on like, I want to be famous, I want to be this, I want to be in magazines, I want to be in all this. I never really had like such a frivolous, in my opinion, goal, because I was just like, I just want to like be able to like talk to like really sick artists as peers,
Yeah.
and I think like, I even this weekend, where we were in Paradise, that I was like, talking to Jackie's like fucking like, she's so sick. She's so sick. She's a way better painter than me. Way better painter than me. I'm sure I
He's a
could
way
paint
better
that way if
painter
I
than
put
me.
in like a shit ton of time into it. But like, she's just, she's achieved it. But we were talking at a high level of like, abstract thought and like, painting and like color theory and like, shit like that. And I was like, or like with other people, I was like talking like very, very high level art stuff. And I was like, this is sick. I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's a cool little thing.
Yeah. I feel very similar to you. Um, uh, and I get that goal quite a bit. I do think you have achieved it because Paradise is where I met Sean Barber, and he, I think, was just apprenticing tattooing. Um, and the very fact that you were there uh, giving a seminar means that you've achieved that goal because
Well, yeah. And even like, I don't know if I told you this, but like, I started my seminar, the seminar that I just gave at Paradise. Um, I I got it. I got into Paradise the last time that it was like a convention, and I
Mhm.
was talking to Guy. I had been getting tattooed by Marcus Lenhard, who's also been sort of a mentor for me over the years. He's been like my biomech mentor
Oh
in a lot
yeah,
of ways.
that's a good
Uh,
one.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Fucking
choose.
Marcus Leonard. Yeah, he's a really
Yeah,
sweet human too.
yeah. He's a good dude. He's
Yeah.
fucked up in the head, but
I
but
mean,
that's how I
yeah.
like him.
We all are.
Yeah. Uh, real messed up sense of humor, but I like that.
I do too.
Um, but anyways, like like I was getting tattooed by Marcus back then, and I was like talking about like this like skin tone seminar thing that I was like already planning like 7, 8 years ago, um, and he was like, oh well, just come here, you gotta meet Guy. And then I started, and I was like, oh fuck, because like this guy, and
And you've
then
collabed with Guy since, right?
I did. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
a back piece together, which
It's
was sick.
awesome. And it's
Did a
beautiful.
painting, a back piece. I'm,
So
getting
cool.
tattooed by him. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I text him sometimes. He's my buddy,
Yeah.
which I
Oh
think is
yeah.
like that was the goal. It's like I'm like friends with this legend, and I can talk to him as a peer, and that was like
Yeah.
sick. That's tight. Um, but at I was like meeting Guy for the first time and asking him about that specific topic that I like, and then now it's like full circle where I'm like, oh well, now I'm teaching at the convention in which I was like starting to hatch this, and like with the guy that like kind of brought the question into mind.
Mhm.
It's kind of cool.
It's
you know?
very cool. And so like what you're describing is a mentor mentee situation, and I think it's kind of cool that you're on this show because that's kind of what I recognize about myself is that it's fascinating to me this process of again like death and rebirth, like this resubmittance to the chaos, because me personally I decided not to be a parent, and I think a lot of times parents go through that just because they have kids, they're resubmitted to this chaos that they have to kind of embrace for their child and kind of put themselves into a new heat again. But when you're an artist, especially an artist that chooses not to have kids, you know, for me, it was like, how can I be a mother in a way or be a parent in a way that is integral? Because I don't want to leave this life without legacy. I don't want to leave this life without doing things. And so on its face, you know, you're like, oh, I want to be friends with these people that I find masters or that I find to be
Yeah.
high levels of their craft. What that means is like I want to keep learning until I'm to a mentor level. But see,
Yeah.
now that you're at that mentor level, you're realizing, well, I want to be a student again because I want to, there's a new heat and I'm now the apex predator in this realm enough to be able to give and plant seeds in other people. But in
Yeah.
order, you know, to have longevity, you have to keep scaling that. So who are my next mentors? Who are my next anything? And it's not to discount the ones that you already have. The ones that you already have, that's like a new foundation. That's like new soil that you can actually tap and that you can all kind of do really awesome things together. But at this new level of like awesome, like, well, let's geek out and do something else. It's a very cool thing. And I definitely I mean, maybe you should have a podcast, Killian.
Oh God,
Because
no.
you're like, oh God, no. Well, I'm just happy that you're on
I have
mine
so
because
much
that
shit.
was
I'm not taking any more rabbit holes.
yeah, I hear you. You already have enough, you
Hard
know,
pass.
lines out. But you
I'll
know,
do yours, you know?
yeah, well, and it's great that you're doing mine because last year at the BYOB, I gave a seminar that was very similar. I said to all of them, I was like, you know, it's funny that all your butts are in these seats because that's exactly where my butt was when I started coming here. And I started coming here in 2011. And I was a wee little fucking apprentice where, you know, people were giving me shit constantly. And I was hungry. And they were like looking at me and being like, you don't even know who any of these people are, do you? And I was like, no, I don't. I don't know who any of them are.
I
I'm
still
just
don't know who anyone is.
right. I don't either. You know, when you raised your hand and you were like, I'm an apprentice. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a presenter. I was like, but I didn't know who you were, and I fell in love with you off right away just because you were like, I loved your whole thing about I don't do peer pressure. I was just like,
No,
this is my guy. I
I
like him.
don't.
I like him because I don't either. I don't like it, and I don't really give a shit if I'm cool
I
or
mean, it's
not.
just more satisfying to not.
I mean, you know. I just if it's not something I want to do, then I mean, I didn't show up for my own fucking critique. I put my shit in there to be critiqued by Guy and Nick and Jake and Andy Chambers, who I never talked to the whole time. My boyfriend talked to Andy
Nice dude.
Chambers. He's a
Nice
very
dude.
nice dude. He's dope. Um, and they critiqued my cover up, and I wasn't even fucking there because I wanted to paint. I was like, I've been wanting to paint this whole time and I haven't painted yet. I'm like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go. I told everybody, I was like, please tell them I'm sorry if they put my stuff up. Maybe they'll have more stuff than they know what to critique, and I won't even get up there. I won't, and then they did it. And thank God my friend who was staying with me got it on, you know, recording so I could hear what they said. But that was very nice of her. But I literally was like, I feel like a douche, but maybe I should do this. But I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm like, I know
Yeah, my problem with critiques is that they're not harsh enough.
yeah, I mean, I liked what Andy had to offer. He was like, honestly, if I were to throw out a criticism, I'd do one more round, and I agree with him. I agree that
Yeah.
it needs one more round for it to be really good. And that was a great thing. I mean, and I think that's the thing too, is that you know when you're a person who's trying to keep scaling, you want the critique because you
Yeah.
want to know and you like the fear and you're willing to walk into it. And like, fuck it, dude. Like, just tell me. I know you don't get why I want it. Just do it. Like,
I mean, but I think like, like people like who I've like asked like very specifically, like, no, do not be nice. People don't want that shit. People don't want that shit. I think like normal individuals do not want harsh criticism. I crave it because I'm just like, no, 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 no. I need you to, I need blood in here, like
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
Don't do me any fucking favors. So it's like, give me a real fucking critique. Be rough. Like, cause that's like the only way that you're gonna learn, you know?
Well,
Like,
coddling your feelings isn't doing you a favor, and you know that. You know that's the truth. Like, and I that's why I say I don't think a lot of people get what real love is. Real love isn't nice all the time. Real love is pushing you towards your betterment. Real love is going to tell you the things that are going to scale you. And that way, for me, it's always about giving people what I know they need in order to get them to the next phase. I don't really understand. Maybe I'm a little on the spectrum. I don't know. But I don't really
yeah,
understand people who are like, I just want you to sit here and listen to me, cry. And I'm like, well, I'm not a good space for that. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm a misfix it. So you've got to be hitting me at a very particular time where I don't got anything going on for me to listen to you cry. And I gotta really give a shit about you for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like seriously, man. Like if
No,
we're
I
not,
get it. I get it. I'm like very similar in that.
yeah, like the podcast is probably the only place where I can tolerate that because at least we're making a podcast. At least you're crying about it can go out into the world and maybe it can affect somebody else, but at least you're doing something there. You might not be actively fixing something, but you might be fixing something to somebody else. So that I can condone. If you want to get on here and bitch, fine. Because to me that at least is doing a thing. But when we're not doing a thing, it's very hard for me to tolerate that kind of time. Like I'm like, what is this? What is this going to get to? I need this to have a reason.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I get that.
And I
Yeah.
don't think it's kind any other way because you're going to end up like Ivan Ehrlich at the end of your life going, I'm fucking pissed, man. I'm pissed because I just did what people told me to do. And everybody was sparing your feelings and everything was fucking vanilla. And then you're mad. That is not loving to do that to other people. I don't care if they like it or not.
Some
It's not
people are
about
gonna that's
liking
gonna be
me.
some people's experience regardless, yeah, and I think that's okay. I mean, it's not me. That's like the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, I gotta focus on me, and I'm just like the experience. I'm like, yeah, you wanna be miserable? That's cool, man. Like, 'cause that's what makes you happy. That's cool. You wanna like stay in a tiny box and that makes you feel safe. That's cool. It does to some people, you know. It definitely does. I've met so many artists that are in like the vibe of like, well, I just want to be a hidden gem, and I don't really want to get known. I just kind of want to like be quiet and do my work. And I'm like, that's okay too. I mean,
Yeah.
in a way, I want to do that too. Uh, but I don't know. It's like I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No. I think it vacillates between those two things because I think that you know, I find for myself, if I'm being honest, the whole want to just do my thing is a safety zone of like not really necessarily wanting the critique, but just wanting to make and just wanting to sit with my feelings and create something from it and be unhindered in that way. And then when I've finished the creation part of it, then I'll welcome the critique. Once I know I did something, once I know that I put out certain effort, then you can look at me because then I did something that you can look at and that we can examine and I can make better calls next time. But when I'm in a very big state of, not really wanting the critique but wanting to make, then I have to reel it in and then I just want to do what I do.
Right. Yeah.
But it vacillates because there are times that I do want to be seen, and there are, I'm an artist. We're artists. What
Yeah.
we
Yeah. We're all a little vain.
Well, it's not even about vanity. It's just we made something. So are we going to keep it in a sketchbook tucked away? Like, or are we, if you're going to be a professional artist, it's about making. It's about being seen. You're making something to be seen. And we're at a point where we make things to be seen so much that people are willing to pay us to make them to be seen,
Yeah.
because our eye is so developed in a certain way. So, it's not just vanity. It's what we do, and it's how we do it. And, other people, they'd move through life differently, and they make different choices just simply because their gifts or their talents drive them in different ways, but ours drive us this way. So, and I think honestly, whether you want to be seen or not, it's not really up to you. You exist. And, there's something, at least in the Bible, that says that if you have a gift or you have something like this, it doesn't do anything for you if you just hoard it to yourself. It can only really be awesome, and you feel the awesomeness of it if you expand it and it goes out from you, and you create
Right.
more gifts for more people, and you hook them to that, and you uplift all of this. So, you got to do that.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a traditional upbringing. I did want to ask you, you said you wish there was more gatekeeping and stuff. So, we've covered a lot of the questions that I have, but in a very organic way, which I think is really cool.
Okay.
Um, but obviously I don't think that you're really a fond one of school for this. Okay, diary listeners, before we get into Killian's opinion about that, I got 2 ads for you for 2 things that I think, if you are a tattoo artist and you're looking to do something awesome for the tattoo artists in your life, whether it be a shop owner or you just have friends in the industry, these are 2 recommendations. I'm just going to hit you with them back to back. Hope you can appreciate that, and then I won't bug you from here on out for the rest of this time. Appreciate you. Hey, are you somebody who likes to draw? Are you somebody who wants to draw better? Are you someone who tattoos? Are you somebody who wants to tattoo better? Well, then I recommend that you go to our special offer in our show notes of this podcast page. Our website is theapprenticeshipdiaries.com, and on this page you'll find all our listed episodes. Within there, the show notes, there will be a link, TAD 10. Click on there and find yourself 10% off a year's worth of the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon. It will make you better. It's already here, my next book. Okay, listeners, I've got something to share with you that I'm already in love with. I don't know about you, but I'm a total book nerd. I have so many books. A lot I haven't read, I admit. There's just something about having bookshelves full of possibilities that calms my soul. So when I attended the Pagoda City Tattoo Fest this past August for the first time, I was delighted to run into my friend Ina Vigilato. We've actually had her on our show, so go check that out. Straight away, it was like God used Ina to guide me over to Black Dagger Books. There I met Travis Lawrence and Josh Rowan, the creators of this enterprise, and got hooked as soon as I saw their product. It's these beautiful little books just full of art, amazing art from amazing tattoo artists. From here, I'm just going to read what their site says. Black Dagger Books is an ongoing collection of artists defining modern tattooing, published monthly, 1 artist per book, 1 book per month. A subscription is $25 a month. You get inside of these beautiful books, these custom stickers. Each one is filled with the most gorgeous artwork, and it always concentrates on these awesome tattoo artists, and I try to follow each one as soon as I open the book. I'm just like, oh my God. So it's really worth it. Do yourself a favor. Go over to blackdaggerbooks.com, or if you're on IG, Black Dagger Books, it's all one word, and check out their product. Like I said, the subscription is awesome, and I'm really happy. This quells everything about, the book nerd in you, the art collector. It also cures any guilt that you might have about having books just laying around, because this gives back to the artist community. It's a win-win. And just so everyone knows, I'm not being paid to shout these guys out. I just genuinely love their product. And also, I really love them. You know, the creators, Travis and Josh, were amazing. They were so kind to me. They gave me so much of their time at the tattoo festival. So if you ever have the chance to meet them, talk to them. They're great guys. I just can't say enough things. So do yourselves a really big favor. Go check it out. Thanks so much, listeners. Let's get back to our podcast.
Mm, well, I mean, no, it's like formal education of tattooing. Eh, mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. I
Me
mean,
too. Me too.
can you do it? Sure. Will people keep on doing it? Yeah. I find I find all these tat influencers making their little tattoo academies and mentorship programs to be annoying and just like, but because I find influencer culture to be the worst, and I hate them all. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
I find their voices to be stupid and annoying, and yeah, it just turns me off. I'm just like, even if you like, I can see that you're a good artist, but your whole persona is disgusting to me. Like, I can just tell that you'll do anything for the attention. So like, it's disturbing to me. There are some people that I'm just like, and I think like those are the people that make it big, because like that persona is very digestible to a lot of people. And they're like, oh, I see this guy and he's projecting this air of importance. And like, I want to be that guy too. It's like weird. Um, I think like there's ways that you can do it. I think like there's a lot of like good artists that are doing like really fun and like really interesting mentorship stuff. Um, I think it requires a lot of energy that
on
I
time
would
because
never want to put into like teaching a mass of people. Like I like doing it. I like doing it like, I like doing seminars.
yeah,
A
I've
seminar.
yeah, I
Yeah, I'll
agree.
do a seminar every, like once or twice a year, and like I'll do a big little turnout, and like it's a very specific thing, and I'm focusing on like the melanin thing for the most part, now. But I do.
I heard rave reviews too about your seminar from people who took it. They really appreciated it and
Oh,
learned a
good,
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
good.
Just so
I put
you
a
know.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about, like, really
Yeah.
good feedback on it, which I'm really happy on, because like I have put a lot of thought and effort into it.
Mhm.
So that's cool. Um, but and then, you know, I think like going back to the teaching thing and like the maybe formal education, it's just like, I have apprenticed someone in the past. And she's doing fine. She's still working. She's still, she's doing her own thing. She has a very particular style that like people are getting, and she's like, she's working a lot, which is the only thing that I demanded. Like, like I think the big thing is like the whole thing, the gatekeeping and like the deserving or whatever. I just don't think people deserve tattooing. I don't feel like people deserve the freedom that this gives us. So I don't feel like this like mass setting of just like these, like, I don't know. I think it's weird. But I do like the idea of like traditional mentorships, because I gave a traditional mentorship to the best of my power, but without the psychological abuse,
Yeah. Yeah.
or at least like with less
You
psychological.
tried. You tried to do it with
Well, I
less.
mean, like
Yeah.
she was still subjected to me, you
Yeah.
know.
That was like my
But
apprenticeship that I had. Yeah. And she doesn't
but
really like me anymore, but that's fine.
oh, that's it. I mean, sometimes I doubt that she likes me as a person anymore. So like, it's fine. Yeah, I'm a very specific flavor. So
Same. I think I'm better when you're feeling like the Amy experience. That's the only time. Like it's like I'm feeling like this brand of something. I'm like a piecemeal kind of thing. Like when you're ready for that experience, that's when you come to me.
yeah,
Otherwise, I'm probably not appropriate.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot.
And then yeah. And so like, like I did teach her how to tattoo, and I was like really happy how they turned out. And I was very strict and very precise on like trying to like teach her very specific skills. She didn't really finish. I had to kick her out halfway through, but only because she wasn't getting to the standard of like, my only standard is just like, if I'm working full time and you're doing less work, like you're only apprenticing, but you're putting out less complete work than I am, fuck you.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Like I don't need laziness around me.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a rough way of thinking, but like, you know what? It worked. It worked. I kicked her out at some point, and then like, she had to like literally pick herself up and like start running. It
Yeah.
was like, it's like a baby giraffe. Just
That was
pooped
the
her out. Like,
catalyst.
I'd go for it.
Yeah. Sometimes that's exactly what people need to get to light the fire in their
Yeah,
ass,
because like at some point, I think like I was being,
Baby giraffe.
yeah, like I feel like at some point I was like coddling, because I was just like, no, I really want you. I really want to teach, and I want somebody to learn,
Mhm.
but you're not learning in the way that I need you to. So it's not selfishly, it's not satisfying my need, but you're also just like not putting in the effort in the same way. So by like casting her out into the world and having her learn the hard way, I think like overall that taught her a lot more. We eventually made up, and like, um, we didn't talk for a few years after that. And we eventually made up, and like, we got to be friends again. Um, and I think it worked out for her. She eventually took like my spot in the shop in Costa Rica where I left. Now she's doing her own thing, but like, it was like, it was a rewarding experience in itself, you know?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep. No,
yeah,
and I think that that's if I get a sense from you, and that's kind of how I feel about it, is that like, kind of a thing that I really want to show people is when you're pursuing a passion, it's not a straight line, like it really isn't. Even if there are a lot of straight lines to get there, what you end up finding is that as controlled and as measured as you try to be about it, what it ends up being is how much do you actually want it and how much are you willing to sacrifice to get there. And for
yeah,
the people who have done it and who are willing to show you, you have to really understand what they sacrificed and what they did in order to get there. And for you, I mean, half the people you were around were not even wanting to teach you, were not wanting to show you anything. I mean, you had to be told that you could ask questions. So like, and
yeah,
that you would get what you wanted if you just asked questions. But like you started out asking questions and they were like, no, like no. Like, and
yeah,
so you really had to scrape and claw for a lot of it. And that's I find more often than not how it goes for a lot of people. And I think that the ways that we learn best is if we have to put some skin in the game, and it can't be coddled and it can't be over nurtured. And we as instructors can't want their success more than they do, like
yeah. And that was like my main problem. I definitely wanted her to succeed more than, you know, I wanted her to be more powerful than she was quicker,
mm-hmm,
but she didn't have the structure in her personality for that at that time. And I think like that's something that I failed to understand, perhaps.
right.
Uh, she wasn't ready for what I was like trying to give her. Um, but it worked out. So I'm not, it's fine, I still love her, she's great, and she's doing her own thing. And the most important part is like, she's still tattooing, you know.
That's how I feel about mine. I was kind of the opposite. She wanted everything very quickly. And I said, well, this shit takes time.
Slow
It
down.
really does take time. Like things that you're talking about wanting, you will have. I wouldn't have even engaged this with you if I didn't see the potential of you having it. But the things that you're wanting at this point is just submitting yourself over and over again to time under the needle, and you will have it, and you will have it as fast as you are willing to get out of your own way. I mean, that's just the truth of it. But I'm not the obstacle, and I think that was part of our journey, was that I think that there was a lot of expectation that I would be something for uh for my apprentice that I guess I wasn't. I didn't have those things really. I had to manufacture them for myself, and it did take time.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it, because I'm just like, well, I'm here, I'm existing within this thing that I wanted to exist in, and I'm just happy to be here. So I let it take the time that it needs to. As far as being an apex predator, I've never been that. I can want that all I want, but that I was born with physical things that really just always puts me like, well, you can't compete like that, kid. You can't.
All right.
Like that's where
Yeah.
you're at, and that's fine.
Accepting
It's not
limitations is
even,
hard.
it is. And I just do the best with what I got. And so for me, that's what I teach people, is like, look, you know, do the best with what you have. Like that'll take you a lot of places that you never imagine. And gratitude is, the attitude of gratitude is abundance. You're feeding that energy of abundance, and you're going to draw things to you. It's a lot better than sitting around bitching and moaning about what you don't have, because people are like, oh, you have so much that you can moan about what you don't have, like
Not complaining
obviously,
though.
so,
Fine.
and we all vacillate between those things, but those are the things that I try to exist in, and I try to teach people, is like, enjoy the journey, appreciate it. At any moment it can be taken from you. At any moment, if you're not being conscious of what you're doing and why you're doing it, it can really catch up to you in ways that will rock your world.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, like, yeah, okay, so speaking on how aggressive I've been in my career, right? 6 days a week, you know, doing
You
like
don't strike me as a non-aggressive dude. I just want you to know that you
well,
have,
I'm not aggressive in the same, in the, violent.
no, but I mean like focused. Like I
Oh
don't
yeah.
mean it like aggressive like you're a dick. I mean aggressive like you mean business. Like
Oh yeah.
that's what I get from you.
Oh yeah. Oh
Fucking mean
yeah.
business.
I do not fuck around. I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever I'm putting wherever I put my eyes, that's
Yeah.
where I'm going. But fuck, what were we talking about? I forgot.
Oh,
Like,
how aggressive you are with your business. Like how
right.
much you went into it.
So I was like, during the first 10 years of my career, I was doing 6 days a week, right? Tattooing 6 days a week, traveling full time, and then also, drinking heavily on the side. Um, and I don't
That's
know
a
how I
lot.
did it. I mean, like, it's just like, the beauty of being in your 20s. But we like I was working so much, and I was like, putting down the work, and I was like making a shit ton of tattoos. And then like a couple of years ago, almost 4 years to be precise, because like I have it marked.
Oh, right on. That one. That
Yeah.
special one.
Yeah.
That red
Yeah,
line.
that's the year that I had to cut back because I couldn't work anymore. Because like I
Gotcha.
shredded my wrists and
Oh,
my
shit.
shoulder, and like, it was to the point where I was like, I was overworking myself to the point that I couldn't work anymore.
Mm.
So yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So like,
There's
and I was
definitely
like,
burnout.
that's all. Well, yeah, and like, emotional, physical, and artistic burnout in so many ways. But then I was just like, okay, that's kind of like, like the thing where I'm just like, wait, what am I grinding for?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's where I was just like, okay, what am I grinding for? What am I doing this for? Like, what's the goal here? Because like, what am I trying to do? Am I trying to be famous? No. Or am I trying to be a millionaire? No. am I trying to do, like, I don't give a fuck, like about most of these things. So I'm just like, what is the goal here? Then I figured out that like the goal was like, I don't know, I just want to be happy making art and
Yeah.
travel and like have enough money that I
Yeah.
can do my life the way that I want to. And and I scaled back to 3 days a week. And I mean, I'm still busy as fuck. Like I
No, I
even
believe
three
you.
days a week, I'm constantly telling my girlfriend, I'm like, "Dude, I don't have time. I don't
Yeah.
have time.
Yeah.
I gotta draw, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Even at 3 days a week, it's a lot. Um, but it is, like it was like life just put its fucking foot in my face and just like, nope, stop.
Yep.
But ironically, I had been begging the universe to make me stop because I don't know how. And it's like one of those things that just like, I asked and I received,
It
you
was a
know?
very direct, um, in the Christian sense, it's I like the secular versions of it because it's a lot of I think it's more universal for a lot of people, but in Christianity it's called a precatory prayer, and it's asking for God's will to be done basically, and God's will is always about your betterment. It's about ultimate love, love of self and your own betterment. So precatory prayer is asking for God's intervention in your life or in the lives of others in a way that will push them to their betterment. So if they're not willing to do it themselves, they will be pushed. And I know it's real because I have definitely, like you said, I have been very stubborn in my life. I have just like, I know that I'm not doing things the right way, but I keep doing them. And
Yeah.
I'm planning this whole other thing that it would be lovely if I could just shape everything myself, but that's not to my betterment because we don't know what our betterment is. We're seeking it, but we don't know. We're asking for our betterment, but we don't know. God knows. The universe knows all that we're capable of. It's already set. It's already, time is these things that we feel very linearly, but that doesn't exist really. That this is our perception of things.
Right.
So our betterment is something that if we're not pursuing it, we will be pushed in that direction. And I know for myself, I am one, so grateful it wasn't worse because it could have been a lot worse. And two, very aware that there are things higher than me because you call it the universe, I call it God, but there are things in this world that are bigger than me that have greater understanding of what I am and where I am than I do. And
Mm.
it is a force that will make me if I am not willing. So um
Yeah.
and like you said, I was willing it. I was asking for it. And so am I. I'm always asking for my betterment. I'm always asking for the best. I'm always asking to scale and to grow. But I don't know what that is all the time. And I don't know all of what I need in order to be that for myself. I have to be honest. I don't. So a lot of times I have to be pushed. Sometimes I have to be fucked around and messed about so that I
Yeah.
am brought into alignment with what I need to be doing, what's next. And
I mean, chaos brings creation, dude.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're asking for when we're asking to keep moving. And it's all of that stuff. But you do reach these points where you're like, I know I'm not going to stop. So stop me, like I know I'm not going to do this. I'm comfortable in this insane rhythm, but you're not really. You're really just you're kind of just
Yeah.
turning something off because you're insane. Like you're just like pumping. I exactly understand you. And then that burnout happens. And I love that you made it red because I think that
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's what spilled. That sacrifice means that blood, man. It
Yeah.
was let. you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I
that's that
mean,
drop.
yeah, it's a
It's a
good
cool ass
reminder.
tattoo. I love that. I love that you've
What?
done that. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna take a screenshot or something of you've been showing me because this is a audio only podcast. I know you don't know that, but I
Oh,
didn't
I
share
didn't
that
know
with you.
that. Okay,
I
good, because
know,
I've been
but I'm
scrolling the
gonna
whole
take
time.
screenshots from our because I might go into video one day, and if you want the
Oh,
video, I can send it to you. But
yeah.
for right now, like you said, there's a lot of irons in the fire. I can only audio editing was a whole hurdle that I like. So now I got to do video editing. Fuck. I want to get there, but in the meantime, I'll send you the video. You can make of it whatever you want because this is a podcast that you've done, and I think it's a pretty freaking dope one, honestly. If I do say so myself. But yeah, the I'm gonna take screenshots of that tattoo that you have on your hand, and I love that. I think it's so
I
cool.
think there's some videos. Where's the fucking? I can't see you
I
anymore.
was worried for a second. I was like, did you lose me?
Oh, here we go. There we go. I just like needed to stand up for a second.
Yeah. We've
No,
been
there's
going
a
for like 2.5
video.
hours.
Oh shit.
I know.
Yeah, there's a video of it on my, I mean, I can send you a picture, but there's a video of it on my Instagram at some point. Every year I kind of do the same thing, just because
Oh,
like I
good.
do it around like my tattoo anniversary, which is like every December, I think.
Oh, right on. Just like
I
roughly.
Yeah, it's like roughly every December, and like, it works out. It works out very well. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I've like a lot of people say, look, I'm gonna copy that. I'm like, yeah, you should. I mean, this is an easy way for me to digest it, just like the tally marks on my
If I
hand.
copied it at this point, I would I mean, I find mimicry the greatest flattery, honestly. If I've given something that's really cool that you want to emulate, that's awesome. But if I were to do it, it would be disingenuous because I like the idea that you have taken the ritual every year and done that for yourself,
Well, I
roughly.
mean, I started with 6,
Yeah, but you
you know?
you thought to do it.
Yeah, I don't remember where I got the idea. I don't really remember what, but like I think it was just like it more feels like, I'm a prisoner because I'm trapped in tattooing. Whether I want to admit it or not, I am a prisoner in this medium. Like I am a prisoner because there is nothing in the art world that is going to pay me as well as tattooing will,
At
you
this
know,
point, yeah. I mean,
at this point,
definitely
yeah.
at this point. Well, and I it reminds me of when the whole girlfriend's name or boyfriend's name were put on you and you started to see people who were like scratching them out and then just listing them and they were just kept scratching them out as they were getting girlfriends. Like that's what it reminds me. I was like, okay, well fuck it.
That's not a
I
red flag at all.
yeah, well no, but it's honest, and like you said, it's like I'm a prisoner. I'm locked into this. Like it's kind of like you're willing to wear your time and you're willing to wear your experiences, and I think that's probably why people really think that we're cool on some level is because we're willing to wear a lot of things that they're not. I went in my spiritual journey walking into church, I've had people kind of sling, like you said, about the Latin culture kind of thing. I think there's still a residual question about tattooing in more religious circles, and the they were like, well, these tattoos, and some people want to cover them up or they want to get rid of them. That's all very personal. I told him, I'm like, well, it is what it is, man. Like it's my story. I'm like, I can't, if I remove them, it's an awareness of God. God knew I would be this way.
Yeah.
God already has seen it. It's already been done. It, there are far more things that I could definitely pull out that if you wanted to talk regrets, I don't regret them. But as far as like wearing them on me or everybody seeing them, it would be far more confronting to have floating about me constantly than these
Well,
tattoos. You know what I
and
mean?
and
Like
also, if you wanna really analyze this shit, and you wanna like really go into the scripture, then we
obviously I
are.
do.
Which I mean, I'm not religious at all. I'm like quite the opposite.
Yeah,
Um,
I
like,
dig it.
but if you do really want to analyze, the hypocrisy of that, of those statements, just like, well, you shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, but like also, aren't I supposed to be a direct reflection of God, made into her image? Uh, like, so even the bad parts about me are the bad parts about God themselves. Like, So is anything that I do truly wrong? Because wouldn't that be, there's a
Well,
lot of,
you're that's the thing, is that I think you're more into it than you think, because there's questions. And I think people who seek answers to questions are people who are of a I respect people who don't put certain terms on it, or who don't follow a certain faith, or what, I at least respect that, because as far as I'm concerned, you're still asking, and you're still searching, and you're still pushing the boundaries, and anything that cannot be questioned, you already know you're in a bad place, because it doesn't allow for you to be who you are, and to be organic, and to be truthful. The truth is that you're here, and you exist, and your mind is valid, and it's thinking. So anything that gives air to that thought, and when you're seeking questions and answers, I think that, I mean, we're all hypocrites, every single one of us. Like, I
yeah.
can't tell you how many times I've contradicted myself, like probably within this conversation.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, that
like,
doesn't matter.
well, I mean,
There's no right answers. There's no right answers to anything. I mean, like it's not, nothing is white or black. Everything is kind of gray, and it's also gray independent on what kind of light you wanna. If you want to get art nerdy with it, like the temperature of the light that you're looking at something is going to change the perception of the color. So like,
well, I want to point out what you said, because this is a question. It's either that nothing matters or everything does. And I think it's more so that everything matters. So
I think
some
nothing.
things are white, some things are black, and you really are only able to perceive things because some things are white and some things are black. It's the contrast that actually allow for things to become in focus. Those lights and those shadows, these plays
Yeah.
on how we perceive. It all matters. It all has integrity, it all has purpose, it all has meaning. And for me, the beautiful thing is finding out how much meaning, and kind of digging deep into those things, and feeling them, and wanting to, I'm a very big romantic with those kind of things. Like, just I love everything to have meaning. The more meaning, the more you can go deep, the more you can suck at it and like feel it. I just fucking love that.
It's
um
it. Yeah. It's weird because like the way that I feel is entirely contradictory, but still in the same.
and totally valid.
No, no, because like I'm a positive nihilist. So I believe
There you go.
nothing actually matters. Like truly,
There you
nothing
go.
really matters. Nothing you ever do will ever matter for any reason. But
You
it
answered that
only like
question though.
so like it only like the only thing that you can do is like try to make things matter, even if they don't. So like you do give that importance and that power to things, but only if you choose to, you
Hmm.
know. Like that's what's gotten me through life. It's just like, well,
Well, I
oh,
think that matters.
bad things. All right. I guess I'm gonna be uncomfortable today, but it doesn't matter tomorrow. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like whatever,
Well, that's the thing about spirituality, is that that's what you find comfort in. That's your peace, because that gives you peace to keep going. Because, if it mattered too much, maybe that would be too paralyzing for you to move. But the fact that it doesn't matter allows you this ability to keep moving, because it
Well,
doesn't matter that
yeah,
much.
but I mean, okay, okay. Think about it this way, right? I'm bringing it back to tattooing.
Hmm.
Is I one of the things that I really sell myself on is how quick I am, right?
Hmm.
That's one of my defining sales points. I am quicker than the next guy. I'm more efficient than the next guy. Like I am cheaper in comparison to the next guy. Fuck you. Fuck the other guy. Fuck like go
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
it, Um and fuck, I lost my train of thought.
Well, matter, don't matter, optimistic and nihilist. Like, we were going back to tattooing with this idea of things not mattering.
Oh, right. So, I feel like a lot of people are like really slow in their tattooing because they are so concerned about like, oh, it's 1 millimeter off.
Yeah.
And like I don't care about those sort of things because I'm just like, if it doesn't heal 100%, we'll just touch it up. It's whatever.
Yeah.
or like, yeah, I'm just gonna do these lines really shittily right now because like the task is to commit the design to skin. It's not to make perfect lines. Like the perfect
Right.
line doesn't really matter because his line is going to be covered by a color and black anyway. So who gives a fuck what this line looks like?
Right.
And then like everyone else, like I've worked with people are just like, this black isn't black enough. And I'm like, you're an idiot and you're overworking it because you're fucking anxious. And and then their client, like, I'm like
Yeah.
finishing up a half sleeve in one go, and they
Mhm.
my goes up and is like, look at my tattoo. And their client is just going like, yeah, same amount of time. I'm still on lines. Well, fuck me, I guess.
Right. Well, and I think
But
that's why you find influencer culture so annoying too, because they present this very optically choreographed, structured thing. And it's
you
like,
care
dude, that's
so
not
much to like
life.
try to make it not that you don't care. It's so
Right. And it really doesn't serve people in the end. It really doesn't, because it's manufactured, it's superficial, it's not the truth. And you can present that all you want, but it's not the truth. And it is annoying because it's so structured and it's so obviously like commercialized and marketed and just like in this little perfect like choreographed box, and it's not real, man. Like that's not how it really
But if I
goes.
air an air, if I have an air of confidence and perfection and
I
professionalism,
mean, it
then I
goes a long way.
that must mean that I am happy, and I do
Right.
not cry myself to sleep at night. I'm great. I'm doing
Right.
fantastic.
Right.
It's like
Well, and you
fuck
know
that.
enough to know that that's not true. And that's why
Yeah,
it's, and
yeah. I'm so like you're just some weirdo art school dropout that couldn't get a real job, dude. Like it's
yeah.
fine. You make pictures.
Yeah.
It's silly. Your job is so silly. Is you make pictures like on like it's so stupid, Like I
Yeah.
find like, and it's like the thing about like the ego and like tattoo, and I'm just like, I think it's so silly for like people to think themselves as this like grand savior of just like, oh, my art is so powerful. I'm like, you drew a horse today, buddy. Like, good job, good
Well,
job.
and to give you a nod, like I will say this, as far as life is concerned and everything, I think it's really important to laugh and to
Oh yeah,
realize how serious to take things. And I think comedy exists within that optimistic nihilism, because there's that recognition of how stupid it is. And
yeah.
then
It's nonsense. It's all
yeah,
nonsense.
it's
It's
all
like, and it's chaotic randomness. Like we are
yeah,
like
but
a
you could
product
either
of
choose,
inevitable. It's
you know,
we're a product of inevitable improbability.
yeah.
Like it's everything. The fact that everything exists is silly and ridiculous,
Well,
but
yeah,
it's
but like
fun.
you could either laugh about that or utterly be crippled by it. And
Yeah,
I think that you found the peace
yeah,
in just laughing. And
yeah.
see,
Exactly.
that's awesome. See, that's
You
why I
you you
like you.
you make it as bad as you want to make it. I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, no, I think you do know. And I think you do know. It I think you know, and I think it's great, and I think it's something to, put out there in the world and for people to hear about, because, we're all kind of just trying to feel it out, and that's it, like, but and for somebody like you who has felt it out, whether you've stopped to pause or look at it or anything, you have, and you keep going and stuff like that. I mean, you're sharing that. I mean, it's been like 2.5 hours, almost three now.
oh,
Which I
fun.
don't want to keep you much longer because you're having to
Should we
stretch.
start wrapping it up? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, we
Uh,
should. We should, because we can do this again. I don't plan on this being my last Killian Moon experience, and I hope it isn't our listeners either. I hope they all get to meet you, hopefully at Paradise or whatever. But if it's doing a collaboration or whatever, or running into you, they have that opportunity. They now know you and get a little bit more of a sense. So do I. So I'm stoked. Yeah. On well, and moving forward, like this is the best and probably the last question. So moving
okay.
forward, I know that you're at this place where you're finally feeling a lack of people in your schedule, but moving ahead, you have the opportunity to do things a little differently. So if people want to get in touch with you and they like what you've said here and they want to work with you, and maybe they've lusting after your artwork for a while, how's the best way to get in touch with you? What are the things that you really want to do next? And I guess
Like
just
tattooing wise, or like
any of the above.
just career wise, life wise, like just or
Yeah.
specifically projects, or what do you mean? That's a very
Yeah,
broad.
I mean, like if it's tattooing, how do you like to be contacted in tattooing? But as far as like where your focus is now, and if somebody wants to collaborate on a project, how should they contact you?
Okay. So the best way to contact me is through my website, killianmoon.com, if you want to get tattooed, because I've made a very intricate and well-oiled machine to make things easy for everyone, because I'm lazy and I don't want to do a lot of work.
Well, you're
But
a
it
private
works out
entity.
really great. So I've created the experience that I would like to receive when I get tattooed, which I think is an important factor in figuring out a process. Um, in terms of like what I want to do next, I don't know, man. I think I think like I would love to collaborate with more artists. I actively seek out people, but I also kind of let, if our paths are meant to cross each other, they will. I believe that. Uh, and some people like to force those paths like I do. So I'm sure they'll find me,
Hmm.
and I appreciate like people who go out of their way to like make things happen, just like the having the balls to ask is, sometimes more important than actually doing it,
I agree.
you
I
know.
agree.
I I think like the main thing is I just kind of want to like explore new mediums of art and make different things. Um, the big question that I've been having over like, the branching out versus, like growing like a mold or like shooting an arrow, like I got an answer. I had the very nice pleasure of hanging out with Alex Gray,
He's
the
dope.
guy with the Tool
Hmm.
album
I've
stuff,
met
and
him. He's awesome.
yeah, cool dude, super
Yeah.
chill,
Allison's
real
dope
nice,
too. Yeah.
real nice dude.
Yeah.
Um, and I asked him about this because he does a bunch of shit, right?
Hmm. He has
And
a
and
whole
so I
like,
was just like, and he's like really good at everything. He's like really good at like everything that he touches, whatever medium it ends up being like this like transcendental, really fun, really interesting thing. And so I asked him, because I've been struggling with this for years, and he said, and I think like this is where I kind of want to like just stop the thing. It's just like the grand definitive thing is, he said that the medium doesn't matter as long as your voice stays the same. And I think that's the answer for me, you know.
I think
Yeah,
that's good. That's really good.
yeah. It feels like enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's great to have a voice. Your goal is to
Doesn't matter
have
where,
a
you know.
killing the moon voice. Which I love that handle, by the way. So that's where you guys can find him on Instagram.
At the
Killing the
Killian,
moon.
yeah,
Yep, the killing moon. I love it.
KillianMoon.com.
Yes, which if you want to work with you. But I love that you talked with Alex Gray. He is a master in that, and he has a whole like basically like mecca like in New York where you can go and you
He
can take
built a
part of
fucking
it.
chapel for
I'm
himself. He
telling
built a
you.
museum and chapel.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
dope. It's weird.
It's dope and weird and awesome. I definitely again, Paradise, that's where I met him. They had it in New Mexico. They had a Paradise artist gathering at a resort and he
Yeah.
invited him and he was dope. He's really cool. His wife is actually from Owings Mills. Like when she was like, "Oh, I'm from Maryland, Maryland. There's this little place called Owings Mills." I was like, "That's where I live." She's like, "Oh,
Oh, nice. That's fun.
I love her."
That's fun. Yeah, very nice people, both of them.
Hmm. But I like that what you put out there, and I like that being next. So, What's dope? I've heard great things about Atlanta, Georgia, and I would like to go there. I'd love to seek you out, and maybe we could do something fucking fun because I like sculpting, I like painting, I like
Sure.
all of it.
I've also built the guest spot that I want. So like, yeah, I'm always open. It's
I
kind of
know you had said.
I have a room. I have a room for guests. Like, and
Oh,
I have a whole scenario. It's a whole thing. But like, yeah, we can do it, dude. Whenever you want to come over, like that's fine. I'll try to get you booked, but like it's a tricky mistress, especially right now that like, like
you would
the
be enough, Killian. If
yeah.
I got extra, that would just be extra.
Yeah, right now is a little weird, but usually pretty good place to work. Like
Like I said, if we just
generally pretty
made
good
dope
place.
art, that would be
I guess
cool.
like, if somebody is listening to this in the future, then yeah, Atlanta's probably a good spot to come hang out. It's probably resolved. The shit that's going on is probably resolved. Or it's worse, who knows?
I don't know. It could be either, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I appreciate you so much, my friend. I'm gonna let you move around and get some food. Thank you so much. It has been really awesome
Yeah,
meeting you
yeah,
and
really
talking with
nice.
you. And I think a lot of good things are in both of our future. So I appreciate it.
All right, yeah, nice. I
Awesome, my
appreciate you
friend.
out, dude.
Later.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, diary listeners, that wraps it. I hope that everyone had an awesome Thanksgiving. I'm very grateful for this diary entry given to us by Killian Moon. Thank you so much, Killian. You've been a pleasure. I'm super grateful for you. You can find Killian, and I recommend you do, on IG at The Killing Moon. That's his Instagram. Also, diary listeners, I hope that you have a great, great holiday season ahead. I know it's a lot going on this time of year, but I hope that you will enjoy and not get burnt out. I'm seeing a lot of that lately. This time of year does that to a lot of us. It's just a lot. Everything inside of me just wants to hibernate and eat everything out of a bread bowl. And I have to avoid that. So I feel you and I'm here for you. I'm sending out a lot of love and prayers for a great season. Don't let it get to you, and keep in mind what it's all about. Making connections, loving yourself, loving each other well. Be kind to everything and everyone. God bless y'all. Later.
Thanks for listening. You can find the Apprenticeship Diaries on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our IG is the_apprenticeship_diaries. If you would like to offer constructive criticism or an interview, drop us an email at theapprenticeshipdiaries@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from our listeners.